Good morning. Good morning. And how are you today? It's a joy to be with you once again and to explore with you today this theme of peace. Thank you for asking me. I affirm for each one of you that you rest in the realization of the peace and the power of the Christ that is within you. Yes. What is this peace? That realization of it keeps us in harmony with God and by extension in harmony with everyone, everything, anytime, anywhere. Buried cages in a wardrobe from the king tells the story of an eccentric man who long ago wanted to find a painting that depicted perfect peace for him. And so, not finding one, he decided to have a contest. And so he wanted to see who could produce this masterpiece of what peace looked like. And this challenge stirred the imagination and the creative abilities of artists everywhere. And paintings arrived from far and wide. And finally, the great day of judging these paintings came, and they unveiled them one by one. And he didn't see any peace until two were left, and the judge unveiled took the cover off this one, and it was a picture of a mirror-smooth lake, reflecting lacy green birches that were hanging over the edge of the lake. And on the banks was a flock of sheep grazing. And people said, surely this is the winner. The man then turned to uncover the last painting. And the crowd was captured with surprise because what they saw was a tremendous waterfall that was cascading down a rocky precipice. And you could almost feel the cold spray from the water. Stormy clouds moved above, and they threatened to explode with thunder and lightning and rain. And there in the midst of these thundering noises and bitter chill that they felt, you see, there was a spindly tree that clung to the rocks at the edge of the falls. And one of its branches was there out front of the torrential waters, as if seeking to experience its full power. And there, in the crook of this branch, in the elbow, was a nest with a bird, content and undisturbed in her stormy surroundings. She rested on her eggs with her eyes closed and her wings ready to cover her little ones. There she was, manifesting the peace that transcends all earthly turmoil. Peace. Can you find peace when the challenges of your day descend upon you like a deluge? Instead of losing your cool, do you turn within yourself and know that the tremendous power of the Christ mind is mine right now, ordering and harmonizing my experience. Can you know that in your time of challenge? The poet Rudyard Kipling, he was the 1907 poet, Nobel Prize winner for literature, and he's a poet. And he wrote this poem, If. How many have read this poem? Few, huh? Google it, please. I'm going to give you part of it, but not all of it, so please Google it. But yeah, Kipling wrote, he wanted to prepare his son for life, how to operate in life with self-confidence, with serenity, with self-control, and with peace. And he gave him a series of scenarios that, when mastered in life, would make him a man. He set them down, these scenarios, he set them down in this famous poem called If. I-F, If. And I want you to hear him speaking to you today. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubtings too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good or too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you have spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things that you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools. And the father continues, Kipling continues with several other scenarios, concluding this poem with, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And which is more, then you will be a man, my son. Pulling off these behaviors, changing the way you do things with human effort is an uphill battle. But coming from your awareness of the Christ mind that is within you, the battle is not yours. The strength, the courage, the peace of mind, the serenity of spirit, the confidence, they are all not yours, but resources of the Christ spirit that is within you, the Christ mind. And of course, these come to the one who recognizes the divinity within himself. Recognize that divinity that is within you. And live in your oneness with this presence and power. Friends, the prophet, the great prophet Isaiah said, God will keep you in perfect peace when your mind is stayed on him. Peace is not something that you acquire from the outer world. It is an empowerment of the Christ mind, realized through prayer and meditation, and it is maintained by your inner connectedness with the Father and making that connection your dwelling place. Live in there. Live out of there. Rest in there. And as you grow in an awareness of the peace of God, the day will come, my friends, when you are able to say to the seemingly insurmountable situations of your life, peace, be still. Peace, be still. Just as Jesus was able to still the storms and the waves by just peace. Be still. Friends, in this season of light, I see all the lights here. In this season of light, one of our celebrations is the coming of the Prince of Peace to human consciousness. He was expected to establish a new world order, an end to war and conflict between people and between nations. Jesus Christ, the Prince of Peace, came and lived in unity with his Father, and he demonstrated the peace that is not waged by weapons of mass destruction, but by mastery of all his spiritual powers. And we are to access that same peace that he embodied and expressed. He did not own it all by himself. We have that peace. We have it all within us. Charles Fillmore, who is the co-founder of Unity, he put it this way. Jesus went back to the very source of discord and showed how all resistance and antagonism must cease. He did not stop to argue whether the cause was just or not just, but said, agree with thine adversary when you are in the way with him. If any man would go to law with you and take away your coat, let him have your cloak also. To the mortal mind, he said, that seems like foolishness. But Jesus spoke of this he spoke out of this inner wisdom that knows that it is dangerous to allow any kind of opposing thoughts to form in consciousness. He knew that the universal law of justice would adjust all matters. And if men would trust it and cease fighting mentally for their rights, they would have that same experience. This is accomplished by bringing the Christ to bear in all your affairs. Let us know this morning that unless we are willing to change the way we think, change those hostile thoughts, those hate thoughts, those retaliatory and condemnatory thoughts, those thoughts of inflicting harm upon others, if we don't change that, our environment will remain the same, because it is as within, so without. We mistakenly believe, friends, that peace is the absence of conflict and inharmony. But peace is not the absence of conflict, not the absence of war, not the absence of opposition and struggle, not the laws that we legislate, nor the treaties that we forge. Peace is that state of consciousness that prevails in us when we are able to face the winds and the waves of disaster, the bomb blasts and the explosions of war, the challenging situations at home or on the job or in the street, the moments of sorrow and grief that come to every life. Sometime or another, it comes. And we are not ruffled one iota, because, you see, we know that there is a presence and a power within us that keeps us in perfect peace when our mind is stayed on Him. Peace is not the absence of outer conflict, it is the absence of inner conflict. As within, so without. You can live in any hostile environment when your mind is stayed on God. Nothing can disturb the calm peace of your soul. Some people live with the mistaken notion that when they have amassed a certain amount of wealth, education, social and political connections, certain possessions and advantages in life, you see, they feel that they will then be happy and they will then have peace of mind. Oh yeah, 5 million in the bank, I'm set. Nothing is further from the truth. In the book, Our Daily Bread, British tennis star Boris Becker said, I had won Wimbledon 2 times before. Once as the youngest player. I was rich. I had all material possessions I needed. Yet I had no inner peace. I was a puppet on a string. The words of the successful author Jack Higgins, and so many of his books have been made into movies. His sentiments were no different. When he was asked what would he have liked to have known as a boy, his answer was, when you get to the top, there is nothing there. Friends, your life will be incredibly empty if you make the outer world the standard for your life. But when you live in God, heaven for you becomes an ever-expanding awareness of God. An ever-expanding awareness of God and His infinite goodness in your life. There is no top. There is no ceiling in God. When I speak of heaven, I want you to remember that Jesus located this place. He said, it's not here, it's not there, it's not there. The kingdom of heaven is within you. It is an ever-expanding awareness of God. How can a limitless God have a top? His resources are inexhaustible. Every day you grow from glory to glory. Oh yes. Peace is found nowhere else but in God. Therefore, you must come into a relationship with him in order for you to really be blessed with peace. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God. How do you come into your sonship? By establishing your spiritual identity with the Father within. I am is your ID card. I am. And whatever you want to be, I am that. I am that I am. I am peace. I am the peace of God made manifest in the world. I turn within to the Christ of God and experience this peace. And then I turn to the world and I radiate that peace to everyone I meet, drawing upon the tremendous resources of the Christ within me. And of course, that Christ makes me an extraordinary person. Take your attention out of the outer and put your attention on God. Spend time in prayer and meditation. Carve out moments to sit with God, to wait patiently upon him, to recognize his presence, and enter into a state of oneness with him. Because it is in that at one meant that you come into the realization of his strength and his power, and that peace that cannot be taken away from you. I share with you the words of Ralph Waldo Trine as I come to a conclusion here. He says the thoughts that go from, he was speaking about a man who is centered in God. He says the thoughts that go from his mind are thoughts of strength. And by virtue of the law that like attracts like, he, by his thoughts, is continually attracting to himself from all quarters the aid of all whose thoughts are thoughts of strength. And in this way, he is linking himself with the order, with a higher order of thoughts in the universe. And so, friends, just as we were taught, to him that hath, more will be given. So it's just a natural law. So when we pray, know that mine responds to you, and that the prayers we send out to the world will always find receptive hearts, and you will also be a receptive heart to receive the good from others. So I say to you, move from being a creature of weakness to the embodiment of the strength and the power of God, to be a master of your circumstances. God will keep you in perfect peace when your mind is stayed on him, because he loves you. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you, Father.